Welcome to Becoming Enchanted, a podcast all about ways to bring enchantment and magic into your life. I am your host, Stacy Lee. Each episode, we will explore many topics of mysticism, including working with Earth's magic, the moon, tarot, astrology, herbs, and more. Thank you for tuning in to find your magical self. Hello, and thank you for joining me for my first episode. In this episode, we will be talking about the kind of reason why I'm here and the reason why I'm doing this, to disenchant the enchanted, I guess we could say, and also talk a little bit about the full moon. And just like it sounds, just like we expected, the full moon has definitely given me problems today. I've had some technical difficulties, so I'm hoping that this is live and we are on board. It didn't want to work the first time, so I had to create a whole new one. So not very nice to me today. Anyway, so I'm going to cleanse the space, and that's how I always like to start. Again, I am Stacy Lee. I am your host. It is a solo podcast tonight, but I will be inviting guests. If you are interested in joining and being a guest on this podcast, please leave a comment. I will try to post a link. I have a Google Doc where you can sign up. I want to see if I can post it in the comments. A Google Doc where you can sign up. And I think it'll post on, yes, it did post. I want to make sure. So if you're here, give me a hello. And this is a live podcast. It will be redistributed on Spotify as soon as I figure out how to exactly do that. So let's cleanse our space. We're going to do this every time. I just want to open up these doors for peace and, sorry, I'm starting a fire, peace and love and knowledge and coming into awareness. Which hopefully we're all here for. So today we're going to talk about witchcraft. And that term can be triggering for some. Over the years, I think the past couple of years, it has become more and more of an acceptable term. It doesn't quite hold the negative connotation that it has in the past, although it still does for some. And that is why I wanted to create this podcast, because I have always practiced the craft, probably since I was in middle school and I was studying Wicca. I am not Wiccan, and I will go into like where my beliefs ride. Hello there. Hi, Brandon. Hi, Trista. Thank you for joining. The moon is positive. It just likes to throw in challenges. And we will talk about the moon here in a little bit. But witchcraft in general, like I will go over, like I said, what my beliefs are as best I can. But I want to talk about that term. There is some, as I've been coming out and I've been putting things on Facebook and I've been talking about different things related to the craft, is what I like to call it. I don't really call it a witchcraft. People have been calling me a witch. And I was like, no, I'm not really. I work with the earth, and I do the earth's magic, and I work with earth's magic, and that's kind of where I'm at. And everybody's, no, you're a witch. No, you're a witch. When I was younger, yes, I like to call myself a witch, and I wore dark hair, and I wore dark. I was very goth. Back then, it was called goth. I think it's called emo now. Hi, Andy. So. Andy, I want to get you on one of these episodes too, because I want to talk definitely, because you and I are good friends and we have some really good views. You have some very different views, but you have some really good views about spirituality, religion, stuff like that. So we're going to have to hook up about a date. But back to that term, everybody kept saying you're a witch, and finally I embraced it. Finally, I just embraced that. Okay, I'm a witch. I practice the craft. And I redefined what it meant to me. And this is what I'm going to talk about today. It doesn't necessarily mean what it means to you and what it means to someone you're going to meet at the grocery store. It does still scare some people, and there's a negative connotation and a link to Satanism, which I'm hoping to clear that up today. So, looking at the dictionary definition, the New Oxford Dictionary states that the term witchcraft is of magic, especially for evil, and the use of spells. So that's where it does come a lot. Like you'll see a lot of TV shows. I've been recently watching, like they'll show a pentacle, and they'll say, "Oh, that's evil. Satanism was practiced here." I can tell you that Satanists don't use it. The Satanistic, at least I don't believe so. Correct me if I'm wrong. Don't use the pentacle or the pentagram, however you want to say it. The Cambridge definition is activity of performing magic to help or harm. That I agree with more, because we can perform magic to help or harm. There are different, I guess, white, gray, black magic, and there are different ways to look at it. I practice more of a white healing magic. I'm a healer, and that's what I do. So let's just talk a little bit about the history. So the history is for ages, for many, many moons, people have always been seeking supernatural explanations to their misfortunes. So you would have, back in the 1500s, 1600s, 1700s, like you would have little old Emily that would come over and try to ask for food because her husband had died. And back then, that's just like she had nothing. When her kids leave, her husband dies, it's just her. And so she would come over and ask the neighbor and be begging for food. And she might not always been nice. There might have been some dementia there. There might have been something going on. And they turned her away. So then like 2 days later, their sheep die. So, oh, it must have been Emily. She's a witch. She hexed our sheep. So and this goes on currently to today. Like we want to have an excuse for when things go wrong for us. We want to say, oh, this happened because, or this person did this to us. We are so good at saying, oh, my failure is somebody else's fault. So this is where I tie in psychology a little bit to like this witchcraft, because I am witchcraft. Oh, can't talk today. Because as you all know, I'm a student of psychology. I'm a therapist. I have my master's degree in clinical social work. And this is what I do, so psychology is my baby. And I'm able to connect it very well to a lot of different things. Human behavior, the human design, like it's just fascinating to me. But that's what we do. All of us do it. I do it. Like something happens, like I wanted to blame someone else today when my camera wasn't working. No, it was my fault because I decided to watch my eagles laying an egg and literally decided to try to set this up in the last 10 minutes. So that was my fault. It's not the eagle's fault. I could have easily blamed, well, Jackie had to lay her egg tonight on the full moon, and it's her fault that I had to be on here late and had technical difficulties. No, it was my fault. So Jackie's not a witch for hexing me and having problems on here, if that makes sense. So hi, Jason. Hi, Susan. So witchcraft in general, the term witchcraft doesn't have any ties to any certain religion. The craft itself is not a religion, but it's a practice using the natural world to heal or manifest, whether that be for good or evil. Witches have been perceived as evil starting in Europe, Eastern Europe, by the early Christians, based on some of these seeking supernatural explanations for misfortunes. Plus, a book was set out, and I had it written down here, and I don't know what it is, but a book was written with how to identify a witch. It kind of goes back to like women were connected with the moon because of their moon cycles, and women in general were considered evil. Early witches were people who practiced witchcraft using magic and spells, calling upon spirits to help or bring about change. So Wicca itself, the religion Wicca, is newer to the craft. It was actually not established until the 1950s, and Wicca is more of a white magic. Their motto is do no harm, threefold. When you do something, it comes back on threefold. But there's many other types of witches. There's paganism, different types, like different types of paganism religions that have witches, or what we would call a witch, and they have different names for it. Celtic, Druids, they all practice the craft. But there is also Christian witches. There are Catholic witches. So that is going to go into what I define myself at. I am a Catholic. I was born and raised. I've had all my sacraments. I don't necessarily believe everything Catholicism. I would say I mix Catholicism with Druidry. I do a lot of shamanic work, Druid shamanic, not Native American, more Druid shamanic work. And I combine those two, and I really see that I see this connection between my religion that I grew up with and this Druid religion who worships earth-based magic and earth-based the energies of the earth. The Druids believe that everything holds a spirit. This tree right here. Oh, wait, I'm backwards. This tree right here, and I still can't touch it. Okay, so we're gonna have a little bit of comedy in this podcast. Whew, it's been a night. So I think Thursday nights are not going to work for me. We're going to have to figure out another night for this because I literally worked until 7. So I want to reclaim and redefine the term for modern use, and I think we have. So there is a quote going around. It's anonymous. I don't know who wrote it originally, but it's talking about this energy of magic. So what is magic? It's influencing the course of events using a mysterious or supernatural forces. Miracles, magic. It lives. Like, you go to Disney World, you feel the magic in there. You can't see it. You can't touch it. It's not tangible, but you can feel the magic. You go to lots of different, you go to the forest, you can feel the magic in the forest. You can't touch, yes, you can touch the trees, and you can touch the grasses, and you can touch maybe the bugs if you like them. I don't know. But you can't touch that feeling. You can't touch the feeling. So it's not a tangible thing. So that would be a supernatural, mysterious force. So whatever you call that, is what you use. So witches, this is the quote, witches call it spells. Christians call it prayer. Spiritualists call it manifestation. Atheists call it the placebo effect. Scientists call it quantum physics. Everyone's arguing over its name, but no one is denying its existence. So it's that energy. And it's hard for me to even put a name to it, because yes, everybody puts a different name to it, but it's that unexplained. When unexplained things happen and we're able to make and manifest and bring things into light that we want in life. I definitely use it for good. I've never, ever tried anything evil or hexy or trying to make stop for the trees and traffic. Yes, you have to stop and hug the trees and traffic. So Andy just made a comment about stop for trees and traffic. And that goes back to a story. I might have told it before. If you've heard it, just tune out here for a second. So we are in Virginia at a paranormal convention, and we decided to go do some ghost investigating at the battlefields after the convention. So we're driving down, and also think we were looking for Goatman, some cryptid stuff. So we're driving down this beautiful, beautiful dirt road, creek on the right-hand side, high bank on the left-hand side. It was just glorious. The magic was there. So we're coming by, and there's this tree. And this tree was just marvelous. It was magnificent. It was the leader of where we were at. You could just, its energy just spoke out. And I had to stop. I'm like, stop the car. And there's 2 cars. Like, there's people following us. And I don't know if any of them are on here. But there's people following us. So that we had to stop the car. I get out and I have to go talk to this tree. And I've never lived it down. I've never lived it down that I did that. So, but that's the magic we're talking about. Like, if it embarks this feeling inside of you where you feel at peace and connected to something bigger than yourself, it is magic. It is definitely magic. So going back to like influencing the course of events, we want to, okay, So for tonight, we are going to do a releasing ceremony with the moon. The full moon is great for releasing. I'll go into all that in a little bit. Um, that releasing ritual or ceremony is trying to manifest something, is trying to change a course of events. It's trying to like, okay, I have this weight on my shoulders. I need to get rid of it. I'm going to let it go. So it's like an intention. So rituals, it's a sequence of activities. Like rituals are every religion, every culture has rituals, and they've always had rituals. Rituals is a sequence of activities involving gestures, words, objects, performed in an appropriate place and designed to influence extraordinary beings or forces on behalf of the person's goals or interests. It's a sacred act, usually to communicate with a higher power. A ritual can help mark times of transition, moments of change. Hope and faith are key ingredient to rituals. Hope and faith. Remember what I said. Like, you have to have hope and faith. And it can be called an intention, a rite, a ceremony, a symbolic act. Anthropologists have found evidence of rituals in each uncovered civilization from the dawn of time that they have uncovered. Every ritual is different depending on, what civilization you're looking at. It makes us feel connected to something greater than ourselves. That is the biggest thing. Like, we want to feel connected to something greater than ourselves. Even though ourselves in general are great, I want you to know that you all are great. You all have the power to manifest anything that you want. And that's kind of what I'm going at. Like, this craft that I practice, I'm trying to manifest what I want. It's the intention. It's the law of attraction. Just manifestation in general. Like, I literally was browsing Facebook today on my break, and I found this quote, and I wanted to share it with you guys. And actually, it was just a little while ago. As you read each line and spell, learn this lesson very well. It's not the words or chants you do. It's not the tools that see you through. They simply help you work your plan. All power lies within your hand. Though words and herbs may play a part, intention rules the magical arts. So it is all about intention. If you've been to my shop, if you've come to me and said, hey, I need this for this, you'll hear me say that a lot. It's really not about what you're using. It's about the intention you're putting out, because words are spells. The law of attraction, like attracts like. So if we are putting out this, okay, I want like a money bowl, for example. Money bowls have been around for a very long time in many different cultures. It's actually a feng shui thing. So, a money bowl, you would put money in a bowl and put it in your money corner of your home. You don't need the other stuff, but many people do. Like, there's rice that is said to be prosperity because of how rice grows. You can put different herbs because herbs hold different meanings. Like, I always look at herbs as, okay, what does this herb do medically or for my body? And then how can I translate that into what it does spiritually? For instance, when you have oranges and lemons, they're citrusy, they wake you up. They wake the senses up. They're great at cleansing or giving you the necessary vitamin C, makes your skin look bright. It looks like a sun. So they're very energizing spiritually. So that's how I link that. But I could use an apple and do the same thing. Some witches out here are going to get me for this one. But as long as my intention is I want to bring in love and light or bring in this positivity, the intention is what matters. Okay? The intention is what matters. We as humans need ritual. We need the act of a ritual to feel like we're connected to a higher self, because we can't just say, oh, I can do this by just thinking it, even though you can. There has been evidence that you can think things into existence. You can think bad things into existence. I guarantee it. Think about it next time. Like, you can think yourself sick. You get a little stomach ache and you're like, oh, I hope I don't have stomach virus. and it's just a little tiny stomach ache. You ate some chili for lunch, want to go to the bathroom and you feel better. But then if you ruminate on it and your mind, and this is where psychology comes in. If you ruminate on it and your mind keeps going and your mind keeps going, like, oh my goodness, I have the stomach virus. I'm going to be sick. I'm going to be sick all night. I'm going to miss work tomorrow. I'm going to do all this. You can literally lay there in bed and make yourself throw up and make yourself sick because of what your thoughts did. So if your thoughts can do negative things to you, your thoughts can do positive things to you. And that's a whole nother podcast I can do about thoughts and how they can manifest things. Our brain has way more power than we are willing to admit. It's amazing. So again, back to the ritual, it makes us feel connected to something greater ourselves. We need ritual. What we're going to do tonight, we need that ritual. Does anybody want to share a ritual that they do? It could be something like, a normal everyday ritual. Does anybody want to share one? I can bring you on the camera. I don't even know how. Do I have a link? I don't know how to do that. Maybe I can't bring you on because I didn't get a link ahead of time. I have to do that ahead of time. So, guests. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know how to do that. Anyway, if anybody wants to share in the chat, like some of the things that they might be considered a ritual. I'm Catholic, so we do a lot of ritual, a lot of ritual. The whole ceremony is ritual. There's Wednesday Mass, there's Saturday Mass, there's confession, there's the Rosary, there's the Stations of the Cross, which I actually just went to the Shrine of Lourdes, which is in Emmitsburg, Maryland, on my way home from Virginia last weekend, and I stopped there, and they have the Stations of the Cross set up in an outdoor area. It's part of St. Mary's College. It is a beautiful area. I mean, it was in the snow, but I felt like I really needed to go light a candle for my mother. So I went to the shrine and said my prayers and lit a candle for my mother. Went and drank some of the spring water, the blessed spring water. It's not holy water until it's consecrated by the priest, but it is blessed water. It has been blessed many times. And then, walked around and I said my rosary, and that's all ritual. That's all like a ritual. On full moons, you do Susan says tonight's a full moon. On full moons, I do a cleansing bath and set intentions. Yeah, that's full moons are good for that. It's a great fresh energy. And we're going to do like a releasing. We're going to talk a little bit about the moon and what it means, and then do a little releasing ritual tonight for that. So I could go on and on about this witchcraft. I could get into details, and I might later in episodes have some facts and details about witchcraft and where it started and Salem witch trials. I do think I want to talk about Salem witch trials at some point in here. Not just Salem, just witch trials in general, and where that comes from. And because it's during those times that we get our modern day rendition of the witch, and an old hag, with the long nose that you see at Halloween. That is where we get, does it count if you shoot the moon at someone? No, Andy, it does not count if you shoot the moon at somebody. Well, I guess it could. It's your ritual. I love you guys. I love this. I really appreciate you guys being here with me. Oh my goodness. It just changed. I had 11 viewers and 11 likes. So it was 1111 up on the screen, and that's an angel number, and there we go. There's another thing, like these spirit, I'm getting a little chilly, so I'm gonna turn this up. These spirit, messages, these things that come through, these, like our guides, our spirits, like they do like to come through numbers. They do like to come through through different ways. And that'll be like, I need a numerologist. I don't know much about it. If someone knows a numerologist, I would love to have them on board and join the show and be a guest on the show. So if you know a numerologist, please send them my way. I'm looking for a numerologist. I'm looking for someone who is like into shamanic practices, anything that kind of relates to this spirituality in line, and all different religions. I'm not, saying, because like I said, I'm not Wiccan. I'm not saying that I'm one strict religion. I want to hear everything. I want to hear everybody's story. We want to talk about it and connect them and see how we're more alike than we think, if that makes sense. So this is where I want to transition into the next topic. And I have not figured out how to put another video here for that transition. And we're working on it. We're going to build this together. You guys are going to work with me. And I'm going to figure out all this technology stuff. So pretend there's a cute little video with like the moon and stuff like that. That's what I wanted right now. I wanted to like transition into this really cool video of you watching the moon, and as I get ready for my next segment. But that didn't happen tonight, so maybe next time. But we are. So I am going to, what if there's any, I'm going to maybe replay. No, I can't do that. Maybe there's some kind of fun video on here. I have no idea how this works. All right, so we're going to do another countdown, a 30-second countdown as I get ready for my next segment. Give me a minute or two. Well, hello. Thank you for returning back with me. Thank you for those who stayed and stuck around. I will eventually have a better video for in between segments. So I was trying to set up my camera to where you could see what I'm doing. So let's talk about the moon. We're going to talk about the full moon mostly tonight, but I'll touch a little bit. The lunar cycle is one of the oldest spiritual and agricultural practices in existence. The gravitational pull of the moon affects the tides on the earth, both on the earth and within us, because we're made of water. The moon is the master of the feminine energy, and it aligns with the woman's cycle, or has been called feminine energy because it aligns with the women's cycle. And like that's why it's called moon phases. The moon affects everyone energetically. Like you can't deny that existence. Those of you that work in maybe healthcare or work with children, what the full moon does. And okay, this week's a full moon. I got to be prepared. It's just the way it is. Full moon is a time where energy is high and intense. And if we think about like this, in our dark night, in our dark times, in the dark night, the full moon shines its light on us. So it can shine the light into the darkest areas of us, of ourselves. It's those dark areas where we can find what no longer serves us, the things we want to get rid of, and then let them go, release them, and therefore have like these new beginnings. The moon has long since been considered sacred, and it's connected to the basic rhythms of life and the universe. You really don't have to be spiritual to understand the power of the moon. An atheist would understand the power of the moon. You know, sorry, I had a child just try to come in. So full moons times are things when things come to fulfillment. So for instance, I announced, and I did it very purposely, and I'm actually thinking about doing this podcast on every new and then full moon. I did this very purposely. I announced and created and got everything together for this podcast on the new moon of last month. New moons are great for setting intentions, for setting seeds, for planting seeds. That would have been the time in the Farmer's Almanac when you plant seeds during a full moon or during a new moon. You harvest during a full moon. So full moons are when things come to fruition, when things come to what you tried to manifest and you're able to realize it. Or it's a time for you, like if it didn't manifest and you look back on it, you're like, okay, that didn't go so well. What did I do wrong? What do I need to let go of still? And then you let go of that. You release it. The release is vital to making space for what is to come and letting go. And that's a lot of times we can't manifest what we want because we can't release and let go of the things to make room for it. So that is what we're going to do. We're going to make this space here during this full moon. So during your next new moon, you can set your intentions. You can set what you want. We're going to go through the cycles. There's 8 moon cycles, and I could do a whole nother podcast on the moon in general and each cycle and what they talk about. But I wanted to take advantage of tonight being the full moon. I'm a moon child. I'm a child of the moon. I'm a studier of the moon, and it really connects to me personally. I can't describe the feeling when I walk outside and I see that moon, regardless of whether it's full or half or whatever phase it's in. So basically all you really need is a piece of paper and something to light it on fire. Okay. Or some way to get rid of it. It could be burying it. It could be throwing it away. It could be ripping it into shreds. So you really don't need all of this other stuff. I do sell a full moon kit with a jar that you can collect moon water. So that's something else we can do. The power of the full moon in the moon water. I make a full moon herb, a herb blend that has mugwort. Mugwort has long been connected to the moon because of the way it grows. And it has mugwort, rose, lemon balm, because it's relaxing. Lemon balm is very relaxing and rose is very relaxing. We're going to help you bring you down. And jasmine, those are all very relaxing herbs for our body. So we have all this energy during the full moon. So you want these nice relaxing herbs. This is a great tea to drink when you're feeling anxious, not just on a full moon. It's just going to keep you like very balanced. So that is like, I drink some of this tea. Obviously, I'm not drinking it tonight. Needed something a little stronger than tea to relax me. And then I bring some crystals with me, whatever you feel. Like I just lay them out on my altar. And we'll do a whole nother episode on altars too. But this is moonstone, rainbow moonstone. And today I felt like I needed some Dalmatian jasper because it brings a little playfulness in. It's looks like a Dalmatian and it's connected to playfulness and joy. And I just felt like I needed that tonight. So what I do, and then I have my salt. This is my witch's salt that I make. And what I do is I use the salt for protection. Salt has long been a protective. Again, look back what salt does. It preserves things. It protects them from going bad. So the practical use of salt is that it protects meat from going bad. That's where salt came from. That's what the first thing that people did was use. Well, first thing they used salt for, besides flavoring. So that is something that is that practical use turned into spiritual. If you're following me, if you can connect with me. So what I do is I lay out, you can't see my altar, I laid out a circle of salt around. This is my cauldron, and my cauldron actually has the little moons on it. So I lay out a circle around here for protection, because you don't want anything bad. You want to get rid of, and I have a white candle lit right here. White candle is very cleansing. Pretty much in every religion, you use the white candles for the sacred stuff. Sorry, my brain didn't work. So I'm going to take my lid off, and I'm going to take my piece of paper, and I'm going to write what I want to release. So if you're in the process and you're here with me and you want to do this, this ceremony, you want to go ahead and take a minute and write. This is again where I would love to have another video, just music in the background of nice relaxing songs, so we could write. So I'm just going to take a minute down here, and I'm going to write on my paper what I no longer want. And I did spend some time earlier already today thinking about what I wanted to release. Things that I spent time in meditation this morning. I drew some cards, and just started to explore, okay, what no longer serves me. I'm losing things. Where am I? There it is. Like what no longer serves me. What do I need to get rid of? And I don't feel like sharing it tonight, what I'm releasing. Sometimes I do, but this one's a little personal, and it's very deep. So I am going to write on my paper what I want to release. You can write it in just words. You can write it in sentences. You can draw a freaking picture, girl. I don't care. I do that with my kids all the time in therapy. They don't want to talk about their feelings. I was like, well, can you draw them? I do more art therapy. So I'm like, can you draw them? Can you color them? Can you make them a certain color? If you just want to put colors on the paper. So I feel like I write this almost the same phrase a lot. And I have to do some shadow work to figure out why I'm not able to release this. So I just wrote one word on a piece of paper, and then I'm going to burn it. And I am going to state, I'm looking for my little statement here. I know I have a little, maybe I don't. So I always like to say a little statement, and a little mantra, a little prayer, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to say, I release what no longer serves me. May this burn to the ashes with this paper. Allow me to no longer be held by these negative energies. So I just burn it. And this is where you want to have a fire safe container. And just let it burn a minute over top of the fire safe container until it gets to your fingers. And then you just drop it in and you let it burn. And you just imagine it going away. Imagine all of that stuff going away and getting out. There's some other stuff in there. That's why it's kind of burning high. You take a deep breath and you just release. I release this. I release this. A lot of times we release things that we have holds on. For instance, if we have a hold on someone that has done us wrong, we need to release that. We need to, I'm going to use the word forgive. That doesn't excuse their behavior, but it releases us from being ties to it. So we need to release that tie we have to somebody else. That tie they have on us, so we can be free. Not that it excuses their behavior, but it's not our job to pay them back. It's not our job to make sure they get their due diligence. Karma will get that. They will cut that string. That is another great ceremony. I will go over that. A cord cutting ceremony, which is you're going to take two candles, you're going to tie a string around it, you're going to light both candles, and you're just going to let them burn down. One candle represents you, and one candle represents what you want to let go of. A cord cutting ceremony during the full moon. I always tell, because I sell cord cutting kits at my shop, I always tell people, like, if you're going to do it on a full moon. Let it go during that full moon. It's a great time to release it, because it's shining light on those dark areas of your life that need to be let go, if that makes sense. So, okay. So when we're done, whatever's left over in there, it is all burnt to ashes. I will take outside and give it to my garden. Because ash is great for the garden, first of all. And second of all, it goes back into the earth and it creates new energy. So that is that ritual, that intention. So then I come to my candle and I say, thank you. I call in any spirit guides. If I called any in the beginning, I say thank you, and I blow out the candle and I say this circle is now closed, because you want to close things off. If you did call in spirit guides, you want to close them off. So now I have a lot of smoke here in this room, and that is that. So that is the full moon. Let's talk a little bit about what this full moon is. This is the wolf moon. It is the first full moon of the year. It's called many different things, but the wolf moon is the number one that it's called. It is the first full moon of the year. It is was called the wolf moon because the Native Americans would hear the wolves more during this time, and they said they were crying out for food. That has since been like debunked. It's really not that they're crying out for food. It was they howl for social interactions, to let each other know where they're at, to anything, stuff like that. It's more of a social piece when they howl, other than the crying out for food. Also called the cold moon. My mind is anybody else know what else this moon is called? There's so many different names for it in different cultures. I can't remember, but it is our first moon of the year. It's our first opportunity to release and let go. It is, and tonight, no, it is not. It is not Crown Royal Peach. This is just a regular IPA. I am a craft beer girl. I love my craft beers. I think that's actually Big Hug is what it's called. All right, Andrew, darling, you have a great night. Thank you for joining. Andrew has to leave. We are almost done for the night. So, but that Crown Royal Peach was Wes. Thank you so much for that Crown Royal Peach. It was amazing. We still have some of it left, not much. I do sip on it at nights when I'm trying to relax and go to sleep, when I need something a little stronger than my tea. So, excuse me. That's one thing beer does. So anyway, so as you see, I have the moons. Look, I have the moons right here, the moon phases. Oh, and the coolest thing happened to me. I don't have it with me. I should have brought it up here. Andy, you were there, I think, if Andy Andrews is still in here. So I have my witch's broom with my moon here, and then I have my moon phases here, right? So at the event, the Paranormal at Hanover Tavern last weekend, I found this spoon, this wooden spoon that's engraved or burned or whatever. And on the spoon, it has, at the very top of it has a witch's broom that looks very similar to this one. And then the moon phases at the bottom. And I'm like holding the spoon and I'm like, look, it's my spoon. I was so excited to find it. I don't know where I put it. I have to find it. That's the only thing about conventions. They just go crazy. So that's what I want to do here. I want to plug a little bit. So I am going to my next is the Undead of Winter, Oddities, and Vampire Masquerade Ball, February 10th and 11th in up there somewhere in Pennsylvania. I forget the name of the town. Milton, Pennsylvania. It's outside of Williamsport. So it's not far from Williamsport, Pennsylvania. We'll be there at the Oddities Festival. I think John Cubby, which he's actually right now on a podcast as well. I think he's on Crossroads right now with Jody. And he's going to be there. I don't know who else is going to be there, but it's more of a con where people dress up and everybody's pretending to be not pretending, they are vampires. So it's one of those type of things. It's not a paranormal type really convention, but there is going to be some of us paranormal peeps there. And then after that, why do I not know where I'm going to be? This season is like very slow. February is very slow. Oh, in March. Oh, at Hoover House. The next weekend I'll be at the Hoover House. It's a Valentine's Day soiree, if that's how you say it correctly. And it is a like a Valentine's party for friends, lovers. You don't have to be a couple to come. I will be offering readings, both couples readings and solo readings, but solely focused on the attention of love, self-love, and focusing on how we can attract love. So I hope to see you there. That's where I'm at for February. I'm not even going to go into March. And again, if anybody knows anybody that would like to join and be on this podcast with me that has knowledge in spiritual practices, such as tarot, witchcraft, any voodoo. I'd love to have someone on here that does voodoo. That fascinates me. It really hits a lot of home because voodoo is very much modern. Voodoo is very much a connection between Catholicism, because it's very heavy in New Orleans. Catholicism and I think it was you, Susan, that told me this. Catholicism and the traditional voodoo. So it's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. So I would love to, if someone knows someone online that, I would love to have them on here to interview them. Susan, you might know someone if you can find me somebody, because Susan is from NOLA. Okay, so Evie, Andy Andrews says talk to Evie on voodoo. She doesn't practice, but she knows all about it. Yes, so it would be really cool just to get some knowledge, information on that. There is a stink bug flying around my head. It's that time of year, I guess. Yeah, so I'm looking for that. Anybody have any questions about what we did tonight? This is now it's open for just like question and answer for the last couple minutes before I jump off. I think we lost some people, so. Yeah, that's right. Evie moved here from NOLA too. I've never been. I've always wanted to go, and I've never been to New Orleans, and I'm sad that I didn't get to go before Katrina. I know it's still New Orleans, but I know there's a lot of differences in there. So, all right, I'm just looking to see if there's any questions. I got a lot of things going on. Road trip. Let's do it. I've been getting more into like cryptids and Bigfoot and stuff like that. So I am just I'm considering sponsoring a cryptid and supernatural event in September of next year by the WPA. I'm seriously debating it. The cryptid world just fascinates me. I think there's a lot to learn out there. I think there's a lot we can find out. Okay. So I don't see any questions. I appreciate everybody coming on. I'm seeing a lot of comments from Facebook. I don't know if anybody's watching on YouTube, if you're commenting. I'm on StreamYard, so I think that I can see both. Ask Andy about our grandma. She has some weird things going on with her dreams. And that is another thing a topic I would like to talk about. I have a whole list of talk about. He is Andy just asked, where's Gary? Gary doesn't do live Facebook things. He just doesn't like videos, and he's probably watching on YouTube right now, but he's not going to comment. He doesn't have Facebook, so he'll be on YouTube watching it. He's not going to comment. He's just going to sit back. But he's also watching our eagles. Jackie and Shadow, the eagle nest that I watch out in California. Literally, she laid her egg 15 minutes before this podcast started. So I was down there eating dinner, like with my phone, watching her, and she literally laid her first egg of the season today. So he's probably up watching her. So things she dreams happens. There's a lot of people like that. There's the stink bug. Oh, I'm sorry. It's literally crawling on my mic. See, I have my mic right here. I don't know if you can see it. I don't have a pop filter, so I have a sock. But there's the stink bug crawling right. I don't know if you can see it. It's like, sorry, it's stuck, so I don't think I can get it out. But the stink bug is just crawling right there. So your Andy says his gram dreams of people dying, and it usually happens that way. So my thoughts, okay, what are your thoughts on that? Like, do you believe it's a premonition, or do you believe it's a willful intention? I'm not saying your grandmother wants people to die. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there are some people that believe that if you dream it, like I'm thinking literally like Freddy Krueger type stuff. Like in your dreams, things can happen and they happen in real life. And it's something deep built in the subconscious. Like Freud has a whole research on dreams and how it's our unconscious mind that likes to make things happen. So what are your thoughts on that? Like, do you feel that it is a premonition, or do you feel like it is some kind of manifestation, subconscious manifestation? I know that's deep. That's deep. I don't know. I don't know either way. That's just a theory that's out there that some people believe. All right, right now when it's silent, does anybody else hear music or people singing? So let me give you a little insight on my premonition, because it happens like she dreams seeing him going up in heaven. Oh, so she sees them. Okay, they've gone. You know that someone has passed because she saw them going to heaven. Okay, that's beautiful. That is really beautiful. She's an angel. I feel like she's an angel. So I have this in my ear because this microphone only does sound, but then it blocks my speakers. So I have to have this to hear. I don't know why I need to hear because no one's talking, but I thought I would be able to bring people on. So when I was younger, my first psychic, I guess, thing that happened to me was when I was blow drying my hair. And I actually had just had this conversation with Ron and Lourdes this weekend with their, Andy, correct me if I'm wrong, ITC. Is that right? Where they do the white noise, and they look at the white noise and they find the voices in the white noise. Thought it was fascinating because I'm like, that makes complete sense to me, because that is when you heard that too, like a high pitched singing. Someone's interfering in our speaker. Okay. So it's not just me hearing my voices again. So I would hear voices. That is so weird. There is somebody singing. We're picking up somebody's speaker. Oh, that's so weird. So I would hear voices when when a hair dryer was going off, and that's the first time I'm like, I thought it was my imagination at first. I would hear whole conversations of things happening, and then like 2 days later or later that day, I would get to school and it would happen. And now the stink bug's crawling on me. Ah, get away from me. And then later the things would start happening. I'm like, wait, this is like deja vu. Did this just happen? And so I started paying attention to it, and I was getting messages through the to the window, to the wall. I was getting messages through the white noise of the hair dryer. So then I just started doing it, and that's how I do it now. Um, and so it really fascinated me with the ITC. I think that's what it's called, from Ron and Lourdes. That was just amazing. Like I was like, this makes sense. I believe this because I believe that there's voices in the white noise. So it's kind of like poltergeist with the TV. They're listening. Is that how they said it? They're here. So, yes, this weird background music that we have playing. Let me put the other one in. Oh, that's so weird. Like I can hear myself talking, This is almost like an IE. Oh, this is really weird. It's almost like EVP, what I can hear right now. That's pretty cool. I'm going to have to do this. Do some EVPs. Okay. So friends, family, I still haven't figured out a great exit. I have an intro, but I haven't had an exit yet. So I've been watching some. I have that woman I told you about who sings to me. Yes, I wish I knew what she was singing because it's not English. I know, and I want to do some more hands-on with you and see if I can get some more of that singing and maybe figure out what it is. But like I said, I think like we talked about it being someone from your past life, someone, a guardian that's around you, that's been around you for a while. So yeah. So anyway, what I was saying, I was trying to exit out of here. I want to keep this at an hour because I don't want to keep it too long. And I really think that I need to figure out how to make this nice and bougie. Not bougie, but have a proper. I want it to be very proper because I do want to try to get this on Spotify, and I do want to try to monetize off of this. That this is something that is a passion of mine and I've been wanting to do for a while. So I will eventually have a nice exit. I'm going to watch some other podcasts and see what they do, and we're going to go from there. But I'm going to say what I normally say, and I hope you all have a wonderful night. And don't forget that you are most important in your life, and you need to fill your cup first. You cannot fill from an empty cup. And thank you all again for joining me. Have a wonderful night. Stay magical.